Hi Nels, how you doing?
Hi.
So here we are, doing therapy with Nels. I've got a question for you about a very common issue that troubles many people about all different manner of things, and that's the issue of sleep. Getting enough of it, being able to switch off and relax at night so that you can sleep. Because if you can't, it just affects your whole life. So why do we have such a problem, many of us, switching off and sleeping?
Okay, yeah, so sleep, there are lots of factors involved in that, and I'll focus on the psychology of it rather than the other practical things around it. So it's about really what's going on for us during the day, because the reason that we tend to stay awake and not be able to get to sleep is because we're ruminating, and we're often ruminating about the things that have happened during our day, and those things might be the things that are playing on our mind. So the reason that things play on our mind is because of the negative experiences that we've had during that day that we haven't actually acknowledged or processed at the time, often because we're just repressing down our feelings and our emotions because we're too busy to deal with them, and so I'll think about it later. And of course, when you think about it later, it's just before sleep, and then you can't get to sleep.
Yeah.
So the way to ensure that you can have the best possible chance of getting to sleep is by dealing with things in the present when they're happening. So for instance, if you're having a tricky conversation with your mother on the phone and you're feeling a little bit frustrated and irritated, it's to bring that up at the time. I'm feeling a little bit irritated, Mum, that I'm not getting a chance to talk with you. Do you think that you could pause sometimes so that I can say something back to you occasionally, for instance? So referencing the irritation, the annoyance, whatever it is that's coming up that's a negative for you, so that you get it out and it's dealt with, and then you won't feel the need to go back over that situation again in your mind.
Yeah. Okay. What about those times where you have a row with your partner, for example, in bed just before sleep, or over the phone just before sleep? So you haven't had any time to kind of process it or deal with it during the day, and you've just had a fallout, and it just completely unsettles you right at that moment when you're wanting to get off.
Yeah, so that's really all about how mindful and present again we need to be with managing ourselves in our moments, being in the moment, so that we show due diligence really and due respect for the timings of things and the process of things, so that we can be respectful of what's actually happening. So understanding the rituals and routines around things to give ourselves the best possible chance of having a good experience during the experience.
Yeah.
So, when it's bedtime, deciding how we want that to look, whether it's a hot drink and a good book, or whether it's listening to a meditation, or whether it's journaling, and what happens when we turn out the lights.
Yeah.
Being mindful of the conversations that we have when we turn out the lights.
Yeah.
So that we don't get into anything that's not appropriate for the time.
Yeah.
So just generally being mindful, and that applies not just before sleep, but in our general life. making sure that we're, you know, not getting stressed whilst we eat. So perhaps if you're watching the news or reading a newspaper or having a difficult conversation whilst you're eating, then that's not going to be very good for your digestion. So yeah, just mindfulness around what the situation is that you're in,
Okay.
and paying attention to that so it can have the best positive outcome for you.
Okay. And what about those times where you feel like you've been as mindful as you can during the day, during the evening, and you get off to sleep nicely? This happens to me all the time. And then bang, you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you need to go to the toilet or whatever, and that's it. You can't get off again. The brain's switched on again, it's whirring away. You've got maybe some big decision looming over you, or something that's troubling you, that's round the corner. You don't know what to do about it, and you can't switch your brain off. What do you do in those dark hours?
Yeah, there's a difference between those two things. If you're just feeling awake, but it's not the right time for you to get up, but there's nothing specific that's bothering you, then you can just accept that you can lie there in the dark and rest, maybe listen to a meditation or something that might get you back off to sleep, but at least you can lie in the dark and rest.
Right.
And accept that that's happening, and try not to clock watch at all.
Okay.
And try to stay out of the negative story about the future that hasn't happened yet. If there is something that's troubling you,
Yeah.
a specific thought or thoughts about the day ahead or something like that, then it's making sure that you are asking questions that you can answer.
Okay.
So it might be that you want to either think it or write it down. You might be able to think to yourself something like, what is it that's really worrying me right now? And then write it down. What is it about this that's really worrying me?
Okay.
And write the answer down to that. And then what would be my best possible outcome? What would make me feel more comfortable and better about this situation? Because then you're asking yourself questions that you can answer.
Right. Okay.
So that's the important thing to remember.
Yeah. But also just generally be at peace with yourself in the moment.
Yeah, just accept it.
Accept the present and
Be
just
at peace.
relax.
And just relax into it, and
Yeah.
know that at least you're having a rest and your body's
Okay.
resting even if you're not sleeping.
Great. Well, hopefully people watching can try some of this and it will help. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll sign off there, Nels, and we'll see you soon.